that's a cool idea.
Right.
But we'll see if he actually does it. But no, he kind of forgot, and now he's coming back with it. That could be cool.
Which I think, I'm not saying it's too late, but I think if that was the plan for the original, I mean from Dago, then I'm for it. But I'm kind of skeptical of how it's going to turn out because they got Zendaya playing the little girl.
Wait, so it's gonna again? It's Zendaya.
I was waiting for it.
Green.
Right.
Oh, come on! Again, it's just more of like the Hollywood incest stuff. Nothing can be fresh. So now it's like, timeline-wise, it works, but it's with Zendaya. Okay.
And my thing is, you
again,
gotta train this girl how to use a sword. You gotta train her to know how to use martial arts. You got different variants of martial arts for this film. So, is it possible? Yes.
there's okay. What's her name? She's like a stunt chick. She also acts. She has an afro.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
You guys know this actress?
Yeah,
I don't know her name, but it's
she's
like,
British.
I'm like, if you'd asked me, yo, Drew, cast Vernita Green, right? I'm like, okay, who's the chick that does the Bojutsu stuff on Instagram?
Right.
Can she act? I know she's been in at least one thing.
Yeah.
I can't speak on her, Caesar, if she can act or if she has chops or not.
Yeah.
But she does have the martial arts angle down.
There's a couple ladies on, they kind of blew up on doing sword stuff, and there's another one where she's basically taking everyone, like she's like really taking it serious, and now she's working towards her black belt. Yeah, I mean,
I'm looking more at it from like who has a blend of acting chops, but who would fit Tarantino's particular style, because she didn't have to be a pro, right? Tarantino's done more with a lot quirkier, a lot less in the way of like actors.
right.
Yeah.
But when it comes to someone who's a fresher face, who would fit the role, who could do has like the physicality of someone who could kick ass,
Right.
I'm like,
They're out
look
there.
at someone who's look at a Power Ranger before Zendaya.
Right.
Look at someone who played a Power Ranger. I'm much more willing to look at someone with a martial arts background,
Right.
who could actually maybe pull off the gravitas of being a killer.
There's tons. There are tons of actresses out there that can do it. You just got to give them a shot.
Yeah, and we've said it before. This is nothing new, I guess, from us. We've said it before. Just do a different casting call.
But that's the problem. Hollywood does not like to give people shots. They'd rather go overseas and hire somebody overseas than to focus on people in the U.S.
It's what I call the Hollywood circle jerk. It's going to be just the same people at least until they fall out of social favor.
Right.
If a weird tape comes back, if someone's secret tape gets leaked, oh no, they've fallen out. We bring in the next one.
All right.
Yeah.
So that's just what it's always been.
Since you
it's always going to be.
talked about falling out of favor, go on, Dayveonne. Go to the Disney movie. Talk about your girl.
Ooh, girl, that ain't my girl. Sadly, she lives in my state, but
Snow White, the one that played Snow White.
yeah, Rachel Zegler.
Right.
You done done it now.
Why do people give her such a hard time, though? I mean, she's just. I'm not saying this disrespectfully, but she's just an actress. Her job is acting. They pay her to play a role. Why do people get so emotional when she says a political thing or a social thing? She's not a socialist. She's not a social scientist. She's not a teacher.
It's just the stuff she says during interviews. Whoever's her publicist needs to get fired.
Oh, wait, what is she? Can you look that up really quick? What does she say that's so bad?
A lot of things. Like even with the one with the interview with her at the red carpet promoting the film.
Okay.
Talking about the movie and how they're gonna change some things and make the film women empowerment, and I'm like,
but did she?
Okay, I'm gonna add some clarity to this.
Yeah.
For me, when it comes to Rachel Zegler, I don't like her because in interviews she's just consistently obnoxious.
yes,
As an actor, when it comes to professional, but that's just my own personal bias. I just see her. I'm just like, oh god, this little smug smith right here. But then it's like when in interviews she disses the source material. The reason she has a job she gets on an interview and then bad mouths where her job came from.
Yeah.
For me, it's
Gotcha.
just very, very young actor, bratty. Why people are like, I always get on the idea of people want to put spotlights in front of just the worst aspects and appease the just narcissism of humanity. Okay, certain groups more than others, without me getting too far into it. But like when it comes to Rachel Ziegler, okay, you've been given an opportunity to pitch this film to the masses, right? It's fine if it's like this is going to be a different take on the classic, but that's all you got to say.
Hey.
Okay.
It's a different take on it. We're doing something different with this one. You don't have to sit up there and bash your fellow cast members, because the guy who plays, I guess, the prince.
Yeah.
She made some really off joke where it's just like, all
he's
the
a
stuff
star.
to get cut.
He's a star.
Whatever. That's Hollywood, baby. I'm like, you sound like a dick. I don't. You sound like
It's a bad representation, man. It's a bad representation of Jersey. Like, you are getting the opportunity to work for Disney for their lead role as Snow White. Not only that, this is an iconic animation film that's being brought into live action. And then you're gonna say certain things and badmouth the movie.
So hold on. Because I'm not really emotionally swayed either way. I'm just asking questions. Did she tell a lie? Because what I'm getting is she needs some media training and maybe to say things in a better way. But they did change some things, and she's just saying her opinion of how they changed it. It doesn't seem like she said anything that wasn't true. It's just that you didn't want to hear what she had to say. Is that it?
No.
I ain't with that one.
Okay.
I don't care that they change things,
Mm-hmm.
but it's the idea that you're effectively dumping on your softcore dumping on your own project.
Okay.
Yes.
And I didn't even care that much. I only got irritated when she's then like softcore wishing that her fellow cast members like footage doesn't get put out there. That was my jump off was that when she was like talking about the guy that plays the prince. The prince is irrelevant. Like all of his scenes might get cut. That's Hollywood, baby. I'm like, you're kind of low key hoping that the dude doesn't get any credit for the work that he put in for his thing.
Exactly.
Now, if someone did that to a female actress or a different actor, people would have something to say about it. That's
Right.
That's mean. That's unprofessional.
You know what's very
We're
interesting?
off on that person's behalf.
Years ago,
So it's just,
Miles-
for me, that was the jump off.
Miles Teller and Michael B. Jordan kind of said the same things. As far as they change certain things, this is what's going on, and regardless, doesn't matter what we do, fans are gonna like it no matter what. They're gonna watch the movie no matter what. Both of them were very smug and had an air about it, but they didn't really get that backlash.
I don't know. That's not true. They both got backlash for it. Michael B. Jordan got backlash just for taking pictures with certain people who weren't the right color. When it comes to Miles Teller, Michael B. Jordan gets criticized all the time for just living, bro. And people want to be on here criticizing him. So they didn't just escape the boys club, escape backlash. No, sir.
Okay.
When it came to Miles Teller, he's notoriously a dick. People don't like talking to Miles Teller because he's consistently smug and obnoxious and always had this air of just haughtiness. So on both accounts, they've both been held accountable for that. So they didn't get away with it. Ziegler shouldn't either.
Okay.
That's
Shots
it.
fired. I got to give you a little explosion on that one, because I'm going to leave that right there.
That's all I'm going to say for that one, bro. They both.
I tried, Ziegler. I tried. Tried to stick up for you, but
I'm not saying nothing.
You tried to give back.
I'm not
Here's
saying
the thing
nothing about Michael B. Jordan. I'm just going to keep it at that.
Bro, he's consistently proven himself to be like just a good dude, right? At least from what I know. None of us know him in real life. I get that. But it's the idea that how he talks to people, when he interviews, you see a consistency. He's polite, right? He tends to keep keep it upbeat, even when it's someone who was like bashing him back in the day, because we all saw that.
we all saw that one, right?
Chick who knew him back in junior high. Oh, his little stupid headshots. He even handled that stylish burn back that he gave her. He even handled that classily. Okay, so when it comes to that, in the wake of him being criticized for just taking pictures with white women, we hate you, Michael B. Jordan. You should be canceled, right? And then
it's stupid to me because it's like,
It's
okay, huh?
It's dumb. It's like he's been criticized for stuff that he didn't even really have like any heat in. He didn't really do anything wrong.
That's just like please don't get me started.
Ziegler will be all right. She'll probably still get some Disney projects, but it's like
no, not the way this is going, because she's suing Disney and Disney is countersuing.
Oh
yeah, she's done. Okay,
she's done. Why is she suing Disney?
She's not cooked. She's not burnt. She is cinder, fellas. That is
wow.
Whoa. Whoa.
Wow.
Know that.
Who is her manager? Somebody needs to be
probably gone. He or she is abandoning the ship as we speak.
Wow.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
On what grounds is she suing?
Yeah, why?
I think it's money.
Okay, so
moving right along. I can't even.
The moral of the story, Seven.
Yeah,
you're right. It's about PR control.
Right.
It's about knowing how to talk to people.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, give yourself fire on that one, Dayveonne. So please, someone give this man something, please.
Gotcha.
You know how I feel.
So Bella Ramsey, she found out right after. What was the name of that show? The sci-fi film that she just did, Bella Ramsey. Hold on a second.
I have to see. Do you have like a photo or something? Bella
Ramsey. Bella Ramsey.
Yo, Andrew, your face is priceless.
I emote apparently. People say that I emote. I guess. Yeah.
No, it's just the way you still thinking about how Cinder. She's roasted.
Oh, okay. The Last of Us. So Bella Ramsey, the star of The Last of Us, found out after season 1, or actually during the end of season 1, that she's on the spectrum.
Okay.
She found out during filming. Someone said, "Hey, I'm seeing certain signs of stuff." And it was interesting because when I watched that series, I was looking at her face and certain actions, and I thought for a second, is she on the spectrum? Because I taught special ed for a little while, and that was interesting. And again, I didn't know if I was just being me, whatever like that. But they found out she actually is, and it's.
Did a doctor verify this? Like, did she?
She got tested and everything, and I think it's really great. I want to see how she handles this with press when they start, focusing on season 2, and it's a good example of like you can be an actress, you can be successful. Sometimes you find out later in life that the challenges that you had are just not random challenges.
Right.
So I thought this was really interesting how they've been handling really smooth and pretty quiet about this too.
Okay. I would say my own little theory is if we had a way of checking each and every actor or like creative person, you're going to find for them being on the spectrum.
Yeah. Right.
I'm pretty sure at this point, like you have, Antonio Banderas. As good of an actor as he is, I've thought that he was had burgers or something for the longest time. Some kind of ism about him. But it's like, dude, just hone that. That's when people that have that, people who are on the spectrum, it's like quirkisms and traits that normal people have that maybe they're on the spectrum, maybe they're not. But then people that have hard showing, telling signs. Right. It's like, okay, now that you verified it, you just hone that and then put that into whatever your craft is, and then just be awesome at it.
Right.
Like Samuel Jackson, he has a stuttering problem.
You never know, right?
You never know.
Never know. As much of a master.
Say that again.
As much of a master of speech that he is, it's like you'd never know that coming up he had a speech. He had kind of a stutter or speech impediment there.
So it's a lot of people in Hollywood that has disorders and nobody knows about it.
Probably. Lots of stuff goes undiagnosed. And then there's people that diagnose themselves. That's where I kind of get annoyed when people
you don't diagnose yourself. You actually let the professionals handle it.
Go check, if a doctor verifies it and they put you through all the tests, and then it's like, oh, you might even, because there was a time when everybody had ADHD. Remember this?
Yeah.
And they didn't.
I'm like, no,
they just calm yourself down. It's called a good
Just calm
whipping.
down. Yeah, just have less sugar, right? And all that pent up energy, put it towards something. Just figure out what your trait is, what your thing is, and then just exert that energy.
As what you call back in the day, lack of discipline, whether parental and or personal. Yeah, but also, it's funny. I mean, I do want to mention another person that's on the spectrum, but since you brought that, I thought that was great. There's too many people self-diagnosing themselves and quick to say, well, I'm triggered by, that's like, stop. Just stop.
Yeah, because if it's not diagnosed by a professional, no, you could feel some type of way. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's not medically cleared or medically examined that you are X, Y, and Z.
And there's also, again, since we're talking about it, in my little experience dealing with people that either had behavioral or physical challenges or even mental challenges, dealt with all three groups. And, it's sad when people are on meds and they shouldn't be, because they're so quick to just, oh, you have this, here's some drugs. Oh, you have this, and then you got those that are, oh, you're just bad. And you're like, no, they're not bad. There's an issue, so it could go either way.
Environment and conditioning type of thing, because there's, you exhibit I guess, what do they call it? What's the term? There's a specific term for it. Like not neurotypical symptoms or whatever. If you have any type of a neurotypical trait, they either want to put you in a special program or dope you up, or they want to relegate to this special sector. It's like in certain cases, yes, it's merited. People that have pronounced situations severe Down syndrome, we could use that as an example. Right. I get it. Those people need special types of care. Certain types of people to help them out for certain things. But for the others, I think it's dude, focus. Okay, again, take down less sugar, focus, and buckle down on whatever it is that your passion is, whatever that gets you hyped and can lock you in. Focus on that.
So there have been relatives of Elon that have been very vocal recently about his personality, saying that he has zero empathy. Like something's wrong with him because he has.
I can see it. Well, at least for certain issues, but yeah, I could see he's definitely. I'm not going to label as anything specific, but I know that he's on the spectrum issue.
He is on the spectrum, right?
Yeah, he's on the spectrum. He has certain quirkisms about him.
Yeah.
And to be fair, though, I'm going to be real.
Right.
All of us, I think we can all be real and say that we've all self-diagnosed at one point or another. Whether we got checked or not, it was the idea that at one point we all look up, WebMD.com.
Why is my toe glowing in the dark? Oh, I had too much Kool-Aid. Oh, I'm fine.
Nothing else. Yeah, you get a heart murmur. I'm like, oh my God, symptoms of a heart attack. But we all do it, and it's kind of like that knee-jerk reaction to things that are going on with us and what we want to be able to decipher for ourselves without having to go to a doctor or a professional.
But I feel
do it, but you got to curb it. Don't decide that that's what it is.
I'm concerned though, because on one hand, and I won't say his name again, but on one hand, the richest man in the world is on the spectrum. This is something that children on the spectrum, you could say, hey, you know what? You too could be the richest. You could use it as a plus in some ways. But that's one conversation. But the other side is this is the guy ahead of all intelligence, all our secrets, our emails. He's the one that hired a 19-year-old that basically has control of all our information. He's going to the Oval Office wearing a sweatsuit with his kid putting the boogers on the desk.
I'll put it to you this way.
This is not good.
I gotta pause y'all right there. The whole sweatsuit comment with Elon, but you attacking the guy from, what's that country?
Ukraine. Right.
Ukraine?
Right.
Yeah, so for coming in with a sweatsuit or sweatpants or something.
Right. Yeah, that was.
Yeah, I didn't think about it till y'all brought it up.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, I mean the fact that a bunch of individuals attacked the president of Ukraine and not Elon doing the same thing is ridiculous. But, with that being said, it's scary.
I mean, one could make the argument that people who run this country, the history of presidents and their administrations, it's not some baseline normal where it's like a bunch of just everyday automatons who all dress up in suits and all serve their function like Data from Star Trek. It's made up of people that have all kinds of different neuroses, all kinds of different personal quirks. They might be, I'm willing to bet, if they did a full head count of everybody who works in the White House, you're going to find it more than half, at least, I'll round it down, at least half the staff will be on the spectrum or have some kind of weird non-neurotypical thing that would put them probably in that gate as Elon or someone who's equally as off or weird or whatever you want to label that. Or
narcissist, yeah.
Narcissism, and that's a different thing. I think that narcissism is a lot more common than people think.
Yeah.
Train narcissism, right? You can't train someone to be like, I don't know, whatever very particular trait that someone in the White House may have had. Someone who's like very keen on numbers or statistics, right? There's got to be at least a couple of them floating around in the White House, right? That's why they got hired.
Right.
That could be their personal quirk.
Right.
You could train a whole generation of people to think very, very highly of themselves because we see that every day. So I think there's a difference there.
I'm sorry, I was doing the selfie. Sorry.
Yeah. That could, people's obsession with their phones, I would argue, because you and I think most of us, me and Dayveonne, we came from an era before cell phones were in everybody's hand.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you see people walking around literally like this every day, they can't make eye contact because they have their phone. When they make eye contact, they act like, something is off. I'm like, that could...
Because you're looking at me too intense. No, I'm just looking at you.
I'm like, no, if someone loses their phone, if a kid loses their phone, they've lost half their soul. That could be perceived as like, that's like an odd, on the spectrum type of quirkism to have. No, my bubbles, my phone, my bubbles. That could be the same thing.
My bubbles, my blankie.
So that was, I don't know, time and tide, I guess.
Oh, man. Is it still going? Did it stick there?
Also, with other news, if you're pretty much into the streaming and social media influencer garbage, excuse me for saying that, Johnny Somali has been somewhat convicted 15 years.
Same 15? Cool. I know of him. If you know Johnny Somali, then you need to be on the internet less. I'll put it that way. Get off the internet, be on it less. He's this little rat rodent who... Basically, he's just like an online troll. He goes to different countries and is just known for being just real vile and mean-spirited and hostile and weird. Righteously gotten the pots and pans put to him multiple times in multiple countries. He's done stuff like going to Japan on a train and having in English conversations about Hiroshima and Nagasaki to people.
Right.
He does stuff like that. So him getting some time is the system works at least somewhat good. He has it coming. And this is why he's one to take an example of is why you don't want to be a lol cow. You don't want to be a lol cow. You don't want to be that person on the internet in life, period, but particularly on the internet.
Yeah. Like, to be honest with you, like, to me, he's
no
just
lie.
trying... Huh?
I said no lie.
Shut up, Mike. But anyway, I'm just tired of people getting likes, and while there's people that's doing stuff, trying to make things, like, on a positive light, like, there's people that's trying to do stuff and develop these skills, while you got some fool or idiots that's on social media or streaming about stupid stuff on the like that they do on the internet. They bust somebody's car or injure themselves or do disrespectful things in these other countries or just within our country. It's getting higher.
He's a good example. I'll put it to you this way: Johnny Somali is a good case study for what clout chasing and desperation for attention does to the modern... How old is he? You could say just the modern American, the modern Westerner, the modern citizen. But he didn't make any loot off of this. Let's not get it twisted. He's infamous. He's not famous. People don't like him. He's not wanted. Anyone who hangs around him does so pretty much just for the just the lulls of it. It's the irony of it. And I think even that's a little too much. That might be giving him a little too much credit. But he's not. There was no win here. This is not a flex. He did not win here. Johnny Somali is going to jail for over a decade because he's just that ass on the internet. You don't want to be that ass on the internet. That should be the moral, the little nugget. If there's any nugget of wisdom that you get out of this episode, it's you don't want to be that ass on the internet.
He said it, ladies and gentlemen.
Don't be that guy. Don't be that person.
No, he's right. Don't. Because
don't be that person.
It's not envious. It's not being hatred. It's just giving you knowledge. Like, use the social media, use the influencers in a positive light. Don't do stupid stuff. He's the perfect example. Johnny Somali is the perfect example of what not to do.
There can be a bigger deficit of influencers, period, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, it's a bigger. Yeah. But Johnny Somali.
Fried cooks less with influencers, but yeah, okay.
But Johnny Somali is that perfect example for that.
He's known only in they're called locals. They're like basically just people that are often on the spectrum. Not always, but often they tend to be on the spectrum. You got your Chris Chans, you got your, I'm sure. Have you guys ever heard of him? Okay, because that's a sign that I need to be on the internet less. So good. Good. I'm glad. But, just basically just online jesters. There are these people that just have very distinct issues, and then many of them have mental issues, but they're online looking for clout, looking for attention, and people that surround them in these spheres, they create this little weird, like, quasi-Truman Show effect thing. They're on 24/7, they're broadcasting themselves, but what they'll broadcast will be concentrated brain rot. So, it's just what that is, society. Godspeed.
And that's what's pissing me off, because these are the people that's getting paid.
These people are, stop saying that, Dayveonne, because these people don't get paid. Chris Chan, I think, is probably the one that makes the closest to a living. I don't want to put this false notion that doing this gets you paid, because it doesn't. Johnny Somali was not paid. He didn't get any. How he was able to travel, I don't quite know, because that ain't cheap. But whatever he was putting into funding his little excursions to be a international troll, okay, it didn't get him paid for this. He didn't get any sponsorships. There's not people plastering his face over things. These people don't get things for doing this. These prankster douchebags, they don't get anything but just the notorious, and sometimes a record. So let's squash that. These guys aren't here. They're not making what you think. They ain't living that life like that. You don't want to be them.
That's real. Yeah, there's a lot of. I've heard that there's been some agencies that would pay models / actors to go into like these lavish apartments or condos and pretend it's theirs, and they're doing stuff, and it's all fake.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
I mean, you got what's her face? Who's the one, the Catch Me Outside kid? I mean, actually, that'd be one example of it, because they gave her a whole record deal off acting like a little ratchet slob. So sometimes I guess they do win. But
I remember that.
It's a dingy lottery that I don't think anyone really wants to win at the end of the day. Even if you did, let's take it that route. Sometimes maybe you do get that loot and you do get that credibility. Right. Is it really worth it? Is it worth what you lose in way of just like your standing as a person? Is it really worth it?
What was the last big one? The blonde woman that talked about fellatio.
Haktua. Yeah, Haktua. There you go. That's another one. They gave her a whole television show just off of that. And
a clothing line and all this stuff.
A whole clothing line based off of a double-digit IQ comment while drunk. I'm like, it's that easy. So if you want to talk about oppression, no, ladies, it's that easy.
No. That's not the only thing. And she was a woman.
I'm just saying, that's all she had to do, and got a television show, got a clothing line. It's like, okay, but it's the worst element of us. It's the dumbest element of us.
And quoted by Fox News during the election.
Fox News was on the scene. I'm like, really, y'all? This is news, huh? This is what we're giving our time and lights